Welcome to IT Live on this beautiful Wednesday morning, and it's brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Tex Homer. That's Ian Boyd. It's the Wednesday show, guys. So we discuss scheme, and we've had an awesome defense. And Ian wrote a great piece called "How the Texas Longhorn Defense is Keeping Playoff Hopes Alive." I borrowed from that loosely for our video title, and we're going to discuss what they're able to do and their success. We're also going to talk run game. And at the very end, as long as we don't run too long, we will talk SEC schedule. All right, let's get this pulled up and get it popping. Say hi to everyone first. Good work, Bobby. First one here, legendary. Drew, good morning. Sugarcane Daddy. I know he didn't write this video title. He did not write the video title, but he did write this, which I stole for the video title. So he felt Ian's more positive right now. Material play, round the clock, Sooner Magic will have him ready for Red River. Can't have Bobby's comment and clean shaven Ian. All right, Ian, let's talk about the defense, the bright spot. It's funny because, whenever you have to give a negative analysis of Texas, you'll end up saying like Texas, but really you're always just talking about the offense. The defense has been a huge, huge bright spot. So let's introduce them to your article here, Ian.
Defense played pretty good.
Real nice.
Scroll down to the table.
Okay.
Let's go over they are second in the country, giving up 7.8 points per game. God bless you for that. Defensive FPI of 0.26. All that means is that's the second best mark in the country.
It's for drive efficiency and it's opponent adjusted, which is important too.
It is opponent adjusted, yes. Now there is a mitigating factor with that we'll get into in a second. Yards per attempt, 4.9. That means people are just dying when they try to throw the ball. Yards per carry, 2.1. That means dying when people are trying to run the ball. Yards per play, 3.5. Third down percentage, only ninth year, 23.2%. Turnovers, only 27th at 1.8. A mitigating factor in all this is that Ohio State hit those two plays to score, or not really two plays. They had a drive with some penalties, and then they had a drive with a big play. And that's pretty much all Ohio State did for the entire game. That meant Texas didn't have very many opportunities to turn the ball over against Ohio State, but it also means that Ohio State had no reason to be aggressive. So would these numbers have been as good if Ohio State had actually tried to attack Texas rather than just playing it safe for most of the game and sitting on a lead? We'll find out in conference play, I guess. Overall, they have mostly dominated every single offense they've played, regardless of what that offense is doing. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. Ian with a statistical profile, dude. Shout out, man. All right. So let's go over the structure.
Stats tell you what, not why.
Correct. Yeah. You always need to search the context.
Yeah. But they tell you what. I've never denied that.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's some times where they can absolutely be misleading, right?
It's kind of like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy where the answer is 41 or whatever.
Yeah.
And like the answer to the universe is 41. It's like the real challenge is what's the right question?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I look at them as diagnostics, right? Like it's, you plug your car in your dashboard. You're like, okay, this is blinking red. Why is it blinking red? Let's go watch the tape. Okay, they can't block. That's why the run looks bad. So just use it as a way to kind of guide what you want to watch. All right, the basic rules of engagement. This is the match 3 coverage that we're using a lot of this year. So let's break it down, Ian.
The main defensive call is really, really simple. I think they usually play the tackle to the tight end, which I didn't bother to flip on that first one. But the way they play it is wherever you put your slot receiver, or if you have two inside receivers, whoever the most dangerous inside receiver is, that's where the star will go, and Taff will play behind the star, and Jelani McDonald will play opposite. So the result of that is Taff is basically a free safety because he's not directly connected to a player. Littleton is in zone or in straight man on that slot. And then Jelani McDonald will drop down into the box at some point, either to play like outside curl flat and match the tight end, or inside hook and match the tight end inside. But he becomes Jelani McDonald becomes your primary like box player.
Mm-hmm.
So I call that the strong safety. You could say that Taff is the strong safety since he's aligning to the passing strength. Or you could say McDonald is the strong safety because he's aligning to
the tight end. And then you could also, or you can just say McDonald's the weak safety because he's the weak side of the passing strength. Yeah, there's a million ways to play this game. I actually prefer like down safety in this look because he's going to be down, but it's a nightmare.
If it's trips, Taff is down though.
Yeah.
So
it's going to have to be formational.
I just call McDonald the strong safety because he's doing more of the things that people associate with a strong safety. When you think strong safety, everyone thinks play the run,
box,
hit the box, and that's McDonald. So,
yeah. On defensive film study coming up, you'll see some examples of him having to shoot a B gap.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. I need to go watch those before we do it.
Yep. All right, so this is the coverage. You'll see a lot. Taff in that high post with weak rotation down. Jelani McDonald hanging around at the box, defending boundary runs, that kind of stuff. All right. And then what do we have here? The inverse.
The inverse. So they don't play this. A lot of times teams will just play the star, the nickel, to the wide side of the field. And Texas has done it that way before, especially in 2022. Last year they dabbled in this more. This year they just play the star wherever the slot is. And if the other team were to motion the slot before the snap back to the field on your bottom diagram, then actually, what would they do if they did that? I'm not sure if I've watched them against that. They could either travel Littleton and have him chase, or they could drop Littleton back as a safety because he's cross-trained in how to play safety too. Taff would roll and McDonald would play down as the new nickel, basically.
I really like the coverage scheme this year.
It's very – I'm sure they have more they can do, but it's been mostly pretty straightforward.
They haven't had to show anything. All right, do you want to talk about alignments?
Yeah. Canoe has been the primary nose tackle, and Murad Watson has been the primary three technique, which is kind of interesting because Watson is not as like sturdy, I guess. But they're still playing him as a three technique. Canoe as the nose, he plays as a 2-eye. So he's a little bit harder to double on a lot of runs. And he has been pretty dominant in that role, as Paul has shown in some of our deep dives. And then they were playing Hill as the Mike and LaFau as the Will, with Ty Anthony Smith as the backup Will and Trey Moore as the backup Mike. But then this week, for the first time, they played Trey Moore as the Will and got him and Hill on the field at the same time. And it is hell on wheels when they blitz.
Yeah.
And the run fits, I think, are still coming along from what I could tell. So you could see why they haven't just been all in on that to date. I've also noticed, probably a lot of people have noticed this, sometimes Hill is at his absolute best when he kind of plays back and lets things happen in front of him and then just runs and hits. And sometimes LaFau is really darn good at just hitting the line on like a run blitz. And so when you have LaFau and Hill together, you get this really potent combo where LaFau can run blitz, and then the ball will often get spilled out somewhere, and Hill's just waiting to run it down.
You can just scrape over.
That works really well. So you could see why they would just roll with that more often than not. But they have a lot of options.
So whenever it's Moore and Hill, what are the problems you're seeing? They're too similar of players, or?
So I saw one play where Hill came on the run blitz and Moore had trouble mirroring the back to fit the crease. And this one play I saw, they do that. They run blitz Hill, and then LaFau is like struggling to quite find the right window to fit behind him. And then it doesn't matter because Brevard like picks up some dude over his head and throws him into the stands and then grabs the running back. And so the running back can't hit the crease. But I did notice that the crease was definitely there if they had someone that wasn't devoured.
You said LaFau. Did you mean Moore?
Yeah.
Okay, Moore.
That probably confused that. That was Moore was struggling to fit the crease. Hill blitzed. Brevard made it all irrelevant.
Well, they can just put all the pass rushers on the field at the same time and double spy the quarterback, like they did in the second drive. I
think we may see that in approximately 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. No, as soon as I saw that, Simmons and Hill both sit and then they wait and they're fiddling, meaning a 2-on-1 with the quarterback, and that'll work for Marcel Reed and Mateer if he's healthy, but Hawkins too, right? Hawkins runs. So it was a interesting look to stop a rushing quarterback. All right, any other factors or packages you wanted to talk about? I know you talk about how this team is looking as good as last year in a lot of these spots.
Yeah. So, do you want to talk about the third down package real quick?
Yeah.
The third down package is different. Just a little bit. It's kind of funny. They last year they would take a defensive tackle off the field and slide down the strong defensive end into a defensive tackle. No, I'm forgetting how they play Simmons and Moore at either edge, Hill at linebacker, and then they take out the weak side linebacker and replace him with Jahdae Barron, and a new corner would replace Jahdae Barron. So it was one defensive lineman, 4 linebackers, if you count an edge as a linebacker, and then 6 defensive backs. This year, and Jahdae Barron would play whichever linebacker position put him against the most dangerous inside receiver that wasn't already covered by the nickel. Right? Does that all make sense?
Yes.
This year, they are using Ty Anthony Smith as the Jahdae Barron linebacker. And he plays some man coverage, Connor, in that look. It's remarkable how good he is at that. Like, I think that's really something, that you have this defense that works super well with the Thorpe Award winner inside. And then this year you're like, I actually think this, sophomore linebacker can play that role and we're going to be good. Crazy.
So we end up in a 1-5-5, huh?
It's a 1-5-5. It's one of the defensive tackles, a defensive end, usually Ethan Burke. So we're counting him as an edge, as a linebacker for the 1-5-5 if you're trying to keep up with the math at home. Then Moore and Simmons outside, unless it's like Vosick or a sub. Then Hill and Smith, and then just the normal nickel secondary. And so it's actually, I've always worried a little bit. I don't know if this has occurred to you or not, if you've ever worried about this, but I've always wondered if Texas played a team that would just run the ball on 3rd and 7 on the third down package, and then go for it on fourth down consistently, could they get into trouble? And with this 155, I'd say that is a much smaller. It's a smaller risk
because you have guys that are trained more in the run.
Because you have guys that are trained in the run. Maybe it wasn't a risk last year with Jahdae Barron just because he was so freaking smart and physical. But at any rate, it's not a problem this year because they're playing 5 linebackers.
Yeah. Yeah, send me some clips of that of him playing man because I want to see that. I never picked it up looking at it.
Yeah, maybe we'll deep dive that.
Yeah, I'm down. Okay.
Shoot, I gotta find it again.
Yeah, find it. You have some time. We shoot it later.
I think I booked it and then I couldn't upload it because Twitter's been weird for me.
And so you say something here that's really cool. For instance, McDonald has been proven to be as versatile as Andrew Makuba was a year ago.
Yeah, when I've seen McDonald when he gets put into coverage situations, he looks pretty good. I don't know if he's quite as good as Makuba there, but he looks pretty good. And when he's in fit the run box scenarios, he's like, I'd say he's just a touch less reliable than Taft was last year, but more explosive with more range.
He's more athletic and he's faster to the ball, but I
think by the end of the year he's going to be a meaningful upgrade over Taft as a box safety. And then we'll see on like Makuba as a seam player picking off crossing passes and catching lobs and things. We'll see. But things are looking very, very positive there.
Yeah. So your only question is we'll see how close Manny Muhammad can come to matching Barron. And then otherwise, the unit has a chance to be absolutely elite this year.
There's also Gilbo in matching Muhammad last year. Can Gilbo this year be as good as Muhammad was last year, or can Kobe Black be as good this year as Muhammad was last year? I'd say those are maybes. And then there's how close Muhammad can get to Barron, which I would say he's not going to match Barron, but he doesn't really need to. He could be really, really good and still not match Barron.
Yeah, Barron was the Thorpe winner. There's
Barron,
only one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's also a mindset, and don't get me wrong, Manny's always been practiced like a pro and all of that. But Jahdae is freakishly smart and super into film study. So he was just a unique human being. Jahdae Barron could run for governor. He's just awesome, dude.
Yeah. Muhammad would probably need to stay another year to realistically
be able to match that.
And even then, I just don't know if he has the same athleticism. Because Barron was not only super smart and serious, but he was
for whatever guy.
Yeah, he ended up being a lot faster than we appreciated.
Yeah.
Hey, also, sorry, I'm getting texts in the corner trying to update me on world events. MSNBC is saying,
you have breaking news for us?
No, well, maybe in a minute if it shows up on my computer. Hero Canoe I think between Hero Canoe, Murad Watson, and Alex January, they've replaced Vernon Broughton and Alfred Collins. And Cole Brevard is like Bill Norton, only a little bit, I would say a little better even.
Yeah.
So the situation up front is very good. Ethan Burke is meaningfully better than last year, so that's another upgraded position. Colin Simmons is better than he was last year. Trey Moore is better than he was last year and more versatile. LaFau and Hill are better than they were last year. So that the defense is very good overall. They're in great shape. I will still tell you that they will probably torch the schedule, and we still won't be able to be sure that the secondary is actually going to hold up if they play a top passing team in the playoffs.
Yeah, especially if we keep facing second string quarterbacks too, because at some point it's we want to stress test passers. that's going to be an important aspect too. But I don't know if we'll see that, especially with guys getting hurt. That leads into this. If Mateer misses Red River and they lose, but he comes back and they finish 9-3, do they make it?
Oh, geez.
I mean, with the schedule being that hard, and then also if Mateer, continues to play fun Mateer ball that everybody likes to watch, and get Heisman stuff, sure, because they will lean on that he wasn't in the. And honestly, if he leaves and OU sucks, that makes Mateer look even more important, And so it's like if he comes back, so maybe, man, with that schedule at 9-3, given that context, they might make it.
They got a lot. There's a lot of problems they have. One is that their ability to win any real game without Mateer is pretty questionable.
They're second to last in FBS in rushing. So Mateer is the offense.
I think they'll get Kent State.
Sure.
Their defense will get them past Kent State. Hawkins might even play well against Kent State. I know nothing about Kent State, but I don't think that that's going to be a realistic challenge to them. Then Texas immediately. I would have leaned Texas anyway. Mateer barely able to grip the ball, Casey Thompson style, or Mateer just totally out. I think that Oklahoma's chances in that game are really bad. Maybe Texas loses an essential player between now and then, but Texas does not have anyone as important as Mateer on their team. Right?
What do you mean as much single point of failure?
Yeah. Like I'd
say Arch is pretty similar. I mean, he is all of our offensive production.
No. Texas could beat Oklahoma with Caldwell. What you've seen of Caldwell, you don't think he can go?
Defense is pretty good, man. Like
but you're not going to beat them by. The whole point is you try to beat them like how many points did they score in Michigan?
I don't know. It wasn't high.
Yeah, you're already planning to beat them like 20-13 or something, 17-6. I think you could come up with a game plan where Caldwell, because Caldwell can run is the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you only need him for like 1 week against Oklahoma, you just jack up your carry total on him. You try to protect the ball. Texas does not have a single player that would have the same impact as losing Mateer.
Well, like I said, their rushing is second to last. So if you lose Mateer, you don't have in there. Texas really can't lean on a run game, but they have no ability to lean on a run game, especially with their weird situation with Ott. So
Sark can scheme a run game against Oklahoma. That's tough. But
we're also nowhere. Like our run game's not great, but it's not that bad.
It's not as bad as Oklahoma's.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
We
could lean on it more than they could.
They are so bad at tight end. Now, with the caveat that Jaron Kanek is
a slot receiver.
He is a tremendous slot receiver.
Yeah,
I really enjoy it. He's awesome.
Yeah.
But he's also the guy that tried to block Keldrick Falk on the play where Mateer broke his thumb. And you'll go watch Kanek just get destroyed. He has no chance.
Well, he's a perfect slot. If you think of him only as a big receiver, then he gets his due credit because he's big and he can catch seams and he can catch things over the middle.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. But as far as an actual tight end like that blocks and does stuff, no. But he's an incredible slot receiver, a unique body style at that position.
He's like if Jordan Whittington had gained 20 pounds and tried to play tight end full time.
Yeah.
And honestly, if Jordan Whittington had gained 20 pounds, I bet he would have been a better blocker than Kanek.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Before we keep going, though, guys, hear a word from Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Any gate can be a tailgate.
Sugarcane Daddy says, I think we have a Thorpe winner in the secondary. Maybe not this year, but I think one of these guys could do it. Does that sound crazy? I don't know. Like, are you maybe thinking Cade Phillips? Like, what do you mean by one of these guys?
That's just, yeah. I would say. So where's Michael Taft right now, stats wise?
I have no idea.
Let's take a look. It's so early in the year that there's still a lot of impact. Jelani McDonald has 2 interceptions. So Jelani McDonald is possible if he has a huge season. I would say Grayson Littleton in a year or 2, which is probably what he's getting at. Michael Taft is tied with LaFau for the team lead in tackles, but he has no pass breakups or interceptions, so he would need to jack those numbers up in a big way.
Yeah, that's not Thorpe. They don't care about the tackles.
Yeah,
I would say no. I would say no.
How many more years do we have? How many more years of McDonald do we have? Just this one, or do we automatically get 2?
What do you mean? Do we automatically get to?
What years?
McDonald's third year, right?
I think so. I'm trying to find where's my roster page is garbage. Yeah, he's a third year.
He could be gone this year. Like with a big season, he can go pro.
Yep.
Especially with that athletic profile. Like
actually kind of concerning to think about.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd say McDonald is the best bet this year. The problem that he'll have is that Taft is a bigger name for Texas, and Taft is going to be really good all year. So it's going to be hard to stand out. And then in terms of and Muhammad just doesn't really have a name at all yet.
Name recognition is huge.
Guy dominates like the Oklahoma game and the Georgia game, then maybe that guy does. But otherwise, I would say no until Littleton is a sophomore or a junior.
And you need the flash plays, right? Like Jelani going up and getting that interception by jumping 8 feet in the air. Wow. Like it's not just that you get the interception, it's how you're doing it, the marketing behind it. Do we talk about it? Does Texas talk about it? So it's like there's so many factors to this too that.
And that game was on ESPN Plus. So
yeah,
let's be real.
Yeah. How many people actually saw that game? Been strange to see the Texas hate from mainstream people like Josh Pate lately talking about how they keep dodging good quarterbacks. I mean, we do, but dodging implies that like we're doing something to avoid them. It's just that they're getting hurt, So I can see the frustration. If I wasn't a Texas fan, I'd be like, God, man, because we have had a good run of not facing good quarterbacks. But I don't think, it's beneficial to your win without a question, but it's not beneficial to knowing what you really got. That's a big factor too. Like I'd prefer Lagway. I'd prefer Mateer. Like I really want to see what the secondary can do. And I know the coaches said the same thing that, look, man, we want to face a good passing attack. Now, I don't know if Lagway provides the good passing attack or Mateer, but you want to see what you got. So avoiding the quarterbacks is good for the win, but then you get denigrated because you didn't face the quarterback,
Just win, baby.
Yeah.
We have a playoff system, so
that's my point. Like, dude, if you win in the playoffs, there's no question if you get tested, So it's like if you get in and you lose, then yeah, you can say that. But if you
people complained about Notre Dame's schedule and that they lost to, was it Northern Illinois, right?
Yeah, NIU.
And then they beat everyone in the playoffs until they played Ohio State. So when you look back at at Notre Dame last year, are you like, oh, they were actually just frauds? Nope.
Right.
So
there's no more proven champions than right now in this era. Like going through that playoff slate, like you can't argue they lost to Michigan. Okay, look at who they beat in the playoffs, So yeah, there's no fake champions anymore. It's not like you just got anointed and play one big game a year like the BCS.
Yeah, or before that even.
Literally getting anointed by some newspaper. The Big Ten teams keep guys like Jelani for an extra year. Sonny Styles example. We need to increase his bag to entice him to stay. But also, yeah, it's got to be.
I don't think that's true.
Champion window.
The guys that the Big Ten has retained that immediately come to my mind were lower round draft picks.
Yeah, what were the Ohio State championship year? What were those guys like? Third, fourth, fifth kind of guys, and then
They're worse. It was all like they had because they had a whole bunch of fifth, sixth, seventh kind of guys, like Taft this year.
Yeah.
Sonny Styles had some really bad tape last year. And I was writing in playoff preview games. I was like, hey, this team may target this guy because I don't think he even knows what he's doing half the time. And the Sonny Styles you're watching this year is not the Sonny Styles that played last year. He was slowly getting there last year, and now he's like, oh yeah, well, this guy will go like in the second or third or whatever.
That's a tough part with Jelani because Jelani has like first round athleticism for his size, you know. So like Jelani doesn't have borderline. Like if Jelani has a big year, he's going to get drafted very high. So it's like that's where it's hard because all the NIL in the world, you're not matching, you know, potential first money.
Yeah, he could. It's possible they could get him back, but that's not. The reason the Big Ten is thriving is because their talent is not split up as much.
Mm-hmm.
Like their Alabama didn't fall, right? And then they've had maybe a bigger share of guys that are like 4 or 5 and then pro instead of 3 and out. And there's actually an argument to be made that we're going to approach something more like college basketball, where the championship teams have not the one and dones, which I guess would be 3 and outs in college football, but the 4 and 5s develop guys that learn how to win at the college level, like the Villanovas and the Gonzagas and the Baylor when they were good, and who's the other team? Virginia. Who's the other team?
I'm worse than a casual when it comes to college basketball. I couldn't even say what a casual says with college basketball.
It's really hard to win with one and dones in college basketball. The winning team is usually guys that are NBA prospects, but who spend 2, 3, 4 years in college before they go pro, and they develop a ton of skill at actually winning college basketball games with college basketball tactics.
All the Big Ten's first rounders came from the top 4. NIL is consolidating talent in the Big Ten and spreading it around in the SEC.
There's some degree to which that's true, mostly because the anticipation of revenue sharing. You have a bunch of schools that before would never spend on college football. Like it's kind of funny, like Indiana, Iowa, Wisconsin, Purdue. I mean, just pick a school in the Big Ten. They are pretty big brands with good market share in television, better than any Big 12 team by like a factor of 3 or something. But they did not spend like the SEC and NIL or under the table or whatever. They would do some, but their alumni are just not wired to cheat, I guess you could say. They just don't care enough. They don't care enough up there. And so if you say, okay, you have to share some of your TV revenue, your budget that you were at about $3 million a year before because you just didn't care. You only had a couple of people who cared. Now here's $15 million and you have to spend it. Well, that is a huge game changer for everybody.
Yeah.
You're just inflating the price of players around the country by however much money you've introduced that wouldn't have been spent previously.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's literal inflation. You're infusing the market with cash all at once. All right, let's talk the run game. This is something that you've been focused on. You've been doing these really good run game breakdowns after games, and they've been really helpful to try to figure it out. What was your main message that you learned versus Sam Houston State? Did they pare it down like you were asking for? Did some of the things you were theorizing upon?
Although they pared it down, they really cut outside zone out a lot. They only ran it like twice before the backups came in. Amusingly enough, those 2 times were extremely successful.
Was it successful because of its rarity or just outlier?
They ran them well, actually.
Okay.
I think I put one in for maybe a deep dive, and we'll probably just not even get to it, I guess. But last time we made this big point about how on the backside of the zone play, you take a big lateral step, and then if there's a guy across from you, the next guy over needs to pick him up and reach him, and how they would just like skip past him. And then the next guy would be like flailing, trying to get him and wouldn't make it. And it would just kill the play. They were much better at using a like jab to help the next guy pick him up, or even going out and then coming back and giving a bump if they didn't have an immediate target. They worked in concert much, much better, but they only ran it twice. So, and against a crappy team.
That's the thing, right? But
Yeah.
what were the breakdowns versus personnel, like 11 versus 12?
Right here it says they still ran mostly 12. They ran for 7 yards per carry in both 11 and 12.
I was gonna say this is bad team metrics.
Now if you look at the inside zone duo stuff, those were good for avoiding negative plays, except for one zone read where we think that Arch Manning botched the read and they gave up a tackle for loss. Otherwise, they were good on inside zone duo. They had a couple of solid gains, but mostly they were good at just picking up, like keeping you alive, 2 or 3 yards on the ground. And then anytime they ran like a sweep or a power counter type deal, they just gashed them.
Well, I was watching their run fits, and like their run fits sucked too. Like when we were running gap stuff, they weren't lever on anything. Like they weren't accounting for the puller on some of that stuff too. So their run fits were very questionable to me when I was watching the all 22. So we'll have to see. Someone says these numbers don't scale going into the SEC play. They do not scale of course not. If we can go for 7.5 yards per carry, God bless us. National champion.
If they run for 7 yards per carry on Oklahoma, they may just fire Brent Venables into the sun.
Yeah. What do you think does translate from what you saw?
I think
knowing to help a guy out on outside zone.
Yep. Paring down a little bit is helpful. I was pretty broad with what I meant by quarterback read. All of the quarterback read plays are money in the red zone. I think there's a very good chance that Arch Manning will tie or break or approach Sam Ehlinger's record for 16 rushing touchdowns in a season, because he's at 5 right now. So that's on pace for what?
15.
So maybe we'll see. That gap continues to be good. It continues to not quite be the main emphasis of the offense. I don't really know why.
I don't know why either. Especially when we were doing 12 yards per carry with counter. And like I said, they couldn't fit it. Like they were running it like it was single back. They weren't accounting for the puller. They didn't have bodies there. They were acting like it was just one running back. Schematically, their run fits sucked. And that's also why you see a lot of this success too in the run game.
I like they have a couple of versions of inside zone that I like. When they play it in 12 and they use Townsend as the look, we got it right here on the outside zone. When they use Townsend as the slide player, he's very physical, and usually knows who to block. It's pretty simple. I don't know if that translates very well in the SEC play because the inline tight end has to be really good. From 11 personnel, I think it's good. I think this version of it, the mid zone, is actually a little better and easier because it's easier on the tight end. So if they can get this play this like sort of more mid-zone play, I think this would be huge for this season.
And it's more downhill. You can cut up faster. There's Simon.
So this one is like, it's like outside zone, but it's not quite as lateral.
Right.
The running back is aiming for like almost like the B gap or the C gap initially. So it's like, it's hard to run good, true outside zone from the shotgun because your running back has to get so lateral. It's better if he's like in the pistol or under center so that he's more downhill when he's making the cut. The severity of the cut on true wide zone from shotgun is really intense.
Yeah.
It's like you're stopping on a dime. It's really hard.
Remember Bijan? He would just be running to the sidelines and then just like a 90-degree angle.
Yeah.
It made no sense how he was able to do that.
Bijan could do it. Everybody else has struggled.
Yeah.
This mid zone, it's not as drastic. Okay. A couple things to note. The block is easier for the tight end because he just needs to maintain. Everybody is moving so far to the right. He doesn't really have to drive and kick that guy out. He just needs to screen him, which is realistic for
our blocking.
For jack injuries. Townsend, I think, can smack people, but injuries.
Townsend's heavy metal. He goes hard.
Yeah. Injuries is more reliable at hitting the right guy as long as he doesn't have to be too physical. And I think he's really good at this split zone block when it's more of a mid zone concept. And then let's watch the backside combination. Simon does a great job cutting. Good job by Simon. He's a little better at this than the others. The trick is that center to left guard because you need Connor Stroh to reach block a defensive tackle. And that is a big point of failure a lot of times because I think Stroh is kind of getting a bad rap this season. But when you watch him on these plays, it can look bad because this is exactly the kind of thing that's hard for him. But on this one, if you can go back again, you'll see Robertson takes his lateral step, but he gets his hands on the nose so that the nose can't just shoot past, and it gives Stroh a chance to get under him. And then Stroh doesn't ever quite get under him fully, but
he can wash him.
He has a good enough he's able to get a good enough like grip on him to just like shove him sideways. And it's totally fine on mid zone to cut back hard like that. Yeah. It's like in between inside zone and outside zone. You're anticipating that ball will cut back around there anyway.
Next up, what do we have here? GH counter.
Oh, this one. So this one I was detailing how Texas has 2 or 3 versions of every play. So when they're running counter from 2 tight ends, they usually run it like this, where they pull a guard and they pull a tight end. And then the other tight end blocks in line. So you have Shannon blocking like an edge on the bottom left. He actually gives him a chip just to make sure he can't make a backside tackle for loss. And then Shannon goes and finds work downfield, which is awesome because now you have a chance to like maximize the play down the field. Campbell is always good at the kick out block. Could say a lot of negative things about some of his play this year, but he's really reliable on these. Boom.
Yeah, it gets low too.
And then I believe this is Townsend finds the linebacker. Or is that injuries?
I don't think that's Townsend.
It looks like injuries from the hue of his arms from here.
Yeah,
always going to reliably make contact with the right person. And then a great downhill cut.
Good stuff with center. Center doesn't let the tackle cross his face, and it actually ends up allowing the running back to run right there, opposed to following the blocks. So, good job on not letting that guy cross your face. We've had some issues with that.
Gibson, I love on gap schemes too because he'll take the first interior lane. He's very decisive. This is his best quality.
You're bringing this one up again, huh?
Well, just because it's an example of counter from 11 personnel without a quarterback read. So this is the second version of counter they have. They pull a guard, they pull a tight end. There's not a second tight end to block. And so the quarterback would potentially have an RPO on this play. And he's controlling an extra defender that the tight end would have blocked by throwing a pass. And this one, let's see here. They're going to pull Campbell again. This time Campbell can't kick him out. He converts it to a log, pushes him down inside really well.
So
Injuries
outside now.
Injuries reacts really well off that to get outside. Perfect. Of course, Clark
goes rogue. But yeah, the blocking scheme is perfect. The back just decides not to follow. But this is versus UTEP.
And go back one more time. Watch Stroh and Hudson on the down block double team. Watch what happens to this guy.
Yeah, pancaked.
You would barely have guessed from the results or from some of the other cut-ups that Texas was pancaking people against UTEP. But when they run some of these gap schemes, and Stroh is a 350-pound downhill force instead of a
dancing bear,
it looks very different.
Yeah. If only we would focus on this. All right. This is from our awful wide version. Whenever we got the all 22 this week, the cameraman screwed up the wide. So the wide is like super blurry. So just try to imagine here. This is more like of an impressionistic painting of what occurred. But
all right.
Here we go.
This is awesome because they cheat motion the slot outside. And so the nickel and the safety are widening and getting wide at the point of the snap, which
Opens
means
up the lane.
It means that fitting them back into the alley is really hard, especially with how downhill this play got. Should probably have gotten the end zone cam on this one too. But you worry a little bit that this is the third counter play I've pulled, and they pull Campbell every single time.
Yeah, seems like a bit of a tell, right? So yeah, that'll be the trick. Do they run it to the field every time too?
Let's
see. This is to the field. This is. Let's see here.
It looks like it's the boundary.
This is boundary. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this is boundary. Okay, cool.
That's also, mid zone.
Oh yeah. So yeah. Some better things in the run game.
Oh, and so that one they have Arch read the backside defender on the option.
Cool.
You see the end kind of slow up.
Chilling. All right, guys. Before we keep going, let's hear a word from David McClellan.
Big financial decisions don't have to feel overwhelming. There's someone who can guide you every step of the way. David McClellan is a fiduciary financial advisor with Forum Financial, and he's working closely with his clients as a true financial life coach, guiding every aspect of your financial journey with expertise and care. If his name sounds familiar, that's because David was a swimmer at Texas and a member of several national championship teams. Today, he channels that same championship mindset into helping people win with their finances. David specializes in financial planning, and he's contributed numerous articles to Kiplinger on the topic of retirement tax bombs. And right now, David is offering viewers a free intro consultation to assess your financial situation. Do not miss this chance to get personalized guidance from a trusted expert. To schedule your free consult, email David at dmcclellan@forumfinancial.com, or you can call him directly at 312-933-8823. The contact info is in the description.
All right, so the run game is we want to see more counter. Let's move on to the SEC schedule that got announced. Let's take a look here. All right, first things I like is that Arkansas and A&M have been separated home and away. So you don't have years where your main rivals are both away or both home. So it's good for attendance. So I like that got separated. One year you're going to have a home game with A&M or Arkansas, which is important because we always have a neutral with Oklahoma. So that's the first thing that sticks out to me whenever I look at this schedule that I like. And then we're going to get Florida again, Mississippi State again, and then everybody else is new. So Ole Miss, first year we're going to open up in Death Valley. That's awesome. At Missouri, whatever, and then at Nayland. So that's also a cool environment. So as far as fan experience and stuff like that, I think it's going to be a good thing, even though all those LSU is not going to be at home, Tennessee's not going to be at home, but it will be a cool environment for television. And then they don't even invert. Let me see. They don't even invert 2027. Okay, they're doing this rolling thing.
Yeah, it inverts in 2028.
So 2026 and 2028 are inverted, which is also a cooler method too. So I like what they did here. 2027, you're going to have Auburn, Georgia, Kentucky. Auburn will be cool at home. Georgia, of course, will always be cool. But we do have Alabama and Georgia in the same year. So that's not great. And then at South Carolina, at Vandy.
Can I jam a little bit?
Sure.
We blew our best chance in a national championship last year.
Yeah.
This is rough.
Yeah.
They're going to play at A&M next year. Could be really tough. Ole Miss could be very good. At LSU, at Missouri, and at Tennessee could all be really tough games. And they play Ohio State. So that's like 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 or 6 games as tough as the toughest games on the schedule this year. 5 or 6, like, very plausible loss type games in 2026. What's tough?
Yeah. But as far as entertainment product, I love what they're doing.
Yeah. This is the right thing for the sport.
Yeah.
But man. Yeah, we better hope that 9 and 3 SEC teams have a good chance to get in, because it's gonna be hard.
I think that'll start to become the standard, right? Like that's a great season. We just have to change our mindset, because going undefeated in conference play, I think, is probably a thing of the past, especially adding that 9th game.
The problem is that it's not, I don't know, because the way the ACC and the Big Ten schedule, like, those teams are still going to go 11-1 all the time.
Yeah, but you're going to have the Big Ten and the SEC lobby being like, we're not doing that. We'll create our own thing if y'all end up elevating those teams over ours for playing weak schedules.
The Big Ten and the SEC are not on the same side of that.
They will be.
No.
If that starts happening.
No, because the Big Ten will be fine. Because look at their schedules. Even with 9 conference games, they play.
Well, it's true.
It's a joke. You get like 3 games of the caliber of which Texas has like 5 or 6 in each one of these.
They have at the top of their league, they're super competitive, but they don't have the bottom of the league or even mid-tier competition.
Yeah.
That we have.
Not right now, at least. Maybe they will when they have to. The revenue sharing effect that I described.
Yeah. But that's going to be the trick. But just as a fan, man, this is awesome. I don't travel because I have to stay here and do all the video stuff. But for the fans that do travel, I think it's really awesome. And I like the alternating. So you're not just like inverting each year, so you get the 2-year or the 3-year span, have how it works. I think that's a cool thing. I think they did this really well, man. Like, as far as putting it together, giving you annual rivalries. Yeah, I think it's great.
One thing I don't like about the every other year, though, is that it makes it harder for 2 teams to build a short-term rivalry, like Texas, Georgia.
Yeah,
it's hard to have a good short-term rivalry if you go 2-3 years if you don't play each other every year, because the rosters change over so much that it's not the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's mathematically no way to play every year. And if you did just invert the next year, then that means the next 2 years you wouldn't play and it would cool off anyways.
Yeah,
So-
but that might be good though. That might be like for 2 years you both have the same quarterback or something, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like that they alternate. I don't like Georgia and Alabama in the same year. That's not great.
Whoa, when is that?
2027 and 2029. We have Georgia and Alabama.
Oh dear God. And Auburn.
And Auburn, yeah.
I wonder which poor soul will be quarterback at Texas for that stretch.
Yeah. Come on down, Diabell, baby.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Probably Diabell. Maybe KJ Lacey. Don't rule out
Yeah.
KJ Lacey.
Oh, I'm not a KJ Lacey sleeper. I like KJ Lacey. But yeah, I think it's cool. Then we have this super graphic that's hard to see. And then credit to
What is this?
next round live on Twitter. It's every team's schedule in 2026 and 2027.
I see.
It's a lot of pretty colors mostly is what I enjoy.
This is not helpful to me.
I wonder who is the hardest.
It's hard to know. I thought Tennessee might be a little down this year, and I would say they are better than they were last year.
Yeah, their quarterback play is really good right now.
I was like, I think Aguilar is, I think that they won the trade in the offseason. I was like, they just won that trade because Aguilar can definitely reproduce what Nico was doing and at a quarter of the cost or something.
Nico's at UCLA.
Yeah.
And their coach got fired already.
Not only is Aguilar reproducing what Nico did at a third of the price or whatever, he's much better than Nico. Much, much better. And the offense has evolved and the offense is better. So
I think that's the model, man. I'm going more and more away from betting horses on 5 stars to just knowing what you got.
100%.
You know, like I think, 5 stars bust too much. The quarterback position is the hardest to evaluate by a mile. There's so many factors that have nothing to do with arm ability.
The pressure is really bad too, because they hand you a bag of millions of dollars.
Mhm.
So you don't have to work for it, and you're only 18 years old. And then you also have to produce immediately. Because you're like, well, we just gave you $2 million a year. So
Yeah, you're a huge cap hit. We need you to perform.
we need you to play immediately. And that's gotten really hard.
Yeah, I think the model is like, look who's balling in the G5, get them at a discount.
Yep.
And then you can do that, And but yeah, I think the days of just like 3-year development cycles of 5 stars are going away.
The way Oklahoma was doing it was almost exactly right. They were giving Mateer like 1.5 a year or something, right? Which is a freaking bargain.
Yeah.
Because he's really good. Now,
and how important he is to your offense.
What they got wrong is that they had no run game or top receivers to help him carry the load. So he got himself hurt. And on Mateer, do you want to talk about Mateer for a minute, or do you have more on this topic?
No, we can talk Mateer for a couple minutes. I got to go shoot a video right after this, but we got a couple minutes.
Yeah, we'll just end on Mateer. Let's give the people what they want.
Okay.
Oh, real quick on Mendoza. Ryan Nelson says Heisman Mendoza. Mendoza is throwing RPOs on like half or more of his snaps. Indiana's just running like inside zone duo every play. And then the accoutrements around it change. So like they run inside zone duo with the glance. They run inside zone duo with a bubble screen. They run inside zone duo with a quarterback keeper read. They run inside zone duo with a wide receiver winding across the formation to help block the extra man. And so he's just spraying the ball around on quick, easy throw. He was 21 for 23 against Illinois. They have an awesome offensive line. It was pretty good last year. They returned 3 guys. They added transfers who had played meaningful snaps at Ohio State and Notre Dame. That's how you do it. And they return their top receivers. That's how you do it in the portal. which is not what Oklahoma did. Mateer has to do absolutely everything for them. Everybody is currently, I had way too much fun reading Sooner Scoop yesterday. And just getting all sorts of crazy prognoses, and like my friend's an orthopedic surgeon. I work for Dr. Shen, blah, 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 all this stuff, half of it maybe made up. And here's the thing. The question everyone's asking is, they think maybe he could be back in 3 weeks. So maybe if, like, I don't know, the swelling goes down really fast and he has grip strength, maybe he can play against Texas. The real question I would ask is, he apparently also had a sprained knee that was bothering him. Even if you get him back on the field, for how long until he's out again? Like the chances of getting compensatory injuries or just getting injuries because you are moving less and less well every week and there's more and more burden on your shoulders. I think that they're in a world of hurt. And I think this was in many ways kind of inevitable because they need him to do it, to run the ball around and do hero ball. And he got away with it last year at Wazoo, so he has not been trained to not do things that way.
Yeah, that's why him translating as an NFL prospect is very dicey. But I thought, injuries would accumulate. I didn't realize it'd be this fast, And so breaking your hand on a helmet, that's not really an accumulation of injury. Like that can happen to any quarterback on any play. So that one I don't think that proves that point. But if you're talking about the sprained knee and stuff like that, that can add up.
But even that, it is a little fluky. Could happen to most anyone. True. Yet at the same time, if you ask your quarterback to throw 35, 40 times a game and run 10, 15 times a game, you're just stacking opportunities for catastrophe.
Yeah, you're stacking fluke potential you're doing all of these. Yeah, the exposure is too much.
And if you're doing it with a tight end who's just an oversized slot receiver, you're really stacking it
and it's not even 3 weeks, right? It's technically he gets his surgery today, so he has really 2.5 weeks, right? Like that's actually what it is. So it's not even a full 3 weeks. Now, do I think he'll try to play if it's at all close? For sure. I think his confidence is there, so I don't think he would duck anything. Like if he can play, he can play. But to me, it feels like South Carolina and then OU's purposely. You remember with Gabriel was warming up and all this stuff. So to me, this feels like gamesmanship. To me, the real target date is probably South Carolina. But if you Google it, like I did, it's way longer of a recovery time. But when you're dealing with athletes, doctors don't go by their normal recovery rate. They let you get back in earlier. It was saying something like 6 weeks for like a normal human being, but
they'll tell him like, you can play. Basically, he's going to play when he can A, grip the ball, and B, tolerate the pain. And so athletes often heal faster than we do because they're genetic freaks. So maybe swelling and all that goes down and he's like able to grip the ball and have enough strength to function. I'd say if that happening by Texas is dicey, right?
Yeah, me too. But
maybe.
Well, pain tolerance to me means nothing because there's certain things you can take to not feel pain. And athletes do it all the time. The trick is his actual grip. Like, because, dude, I got a Toradol shot one time for a hurt foot. I could not put any, and this wasn't even football related, and I could not put any pressure on it. Like I wanted to yell. And they gave me a Toradol shot, and I was walking around. I could have jumped on it. It was the strangest thing. Like that's a powerful drug. So pain tolerance means nothing to me because there's ways to get rid of your pain, but it's literally your grip.
That's where I was going. I think if it's, strictly pain tolerance, he'll be fine. But the grip thing is going to be tough.
Yeah. Well, see, he's going to he's going to like a top doctor that worked on NFL guys. So, if they're going to him, they're probably going to the guy that can get you to play the fastest too. So But to me, it feels like South Carolina, and that they're going to play gamesmanship with a Texas game. But yeah, it's not even 3 weeks. It's 2.5 weeks.
Everybody just think about, like, so many Texas fans and Oklahoma fans are convinced he's going to play. Blake, from what I've read, if the surgery goes well, the chances of re-injuring it or hurting it worse are actually minimal, because they're going to put a pin and stuff in there to stabilize it.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that.
That's also why they're doing surgery, because without the surgery, he would be able to hurt it far more. And so the surgery is actually trying to solve for that.
Yeah. Where was I going? Oh, remember what Casey Thompson, he like hurt his thumb, and then I think he aggravated it later in the year. And so like he had like a picture where it was like just blue, purple bruise up and down his hand.
Yeah.
After he aggravated it later in the year, the dude could not throw the football. So I think people are being a little.
Well, you're right there too. Like literal swelling, right? Like anything that's not pain tolerance and is actually going to affect the mechanics of the hand. Yeah, it could just be swollen too, and now your grip is weird. And he's not super accurate because he does all the cool guy stuff. So it's like it's not sound mechanics either, which would help a little bit. So he has unsound mechanics, and his hand can be hurt, can increase lack of accuracy.
Can you get a toradol shot and still, does that affect your fine motor movements?
Mm-mm.
Wow, that's amazing. What an amazing drug.
Yeah, it was remarkable. And then I realized, I was like, oh, this is why they give it to the athletes, because you can't even feel it. Like I was able to completely walk, like put pressure on it. I couldn't feel a thing. It's blocking whatever pain receptors are there. I'm sure my actual leg was like, what are we doing?
If you got a shot in your arm, you would not lose. You could still.
It's not a numbness. It's not like it. Yeah, it's just like it's blocking pain receptors. Like your brain's not getting the signal. So that's what it is. But yeah, it's not like a painkiller where you feel numb and warm and fuzzy and a little bit high. Like it's not that.
Go to the super chat.
All right. Does BV need to rush him back to help keep his job? Oh, I'm sure. Did you notice that
he gave himself a lot of leeway by winning the Michigan and Auburn games?
Well, did you hear when he was talking, he was like, we are sure Matera is going to work very hard to recover very quickly. Like he was sending kind of like, all right, Matera, like as fast as you can messages through the media, which was pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, they'll do whatever they can, but if they just get smoked again by Texas, then they'll be in trouble. But if they lose a well-contested game without Mateer, he'll be okay.
But I feel like even if they get beat really bad again, it's just an excuse of like, because they're already saying, man, 3 out of 4 years Texas gets this. If Texas beats the brakes off you and you come back versus South Carolina and you continue to have a good season, he'll be fine.
No. The rationality goes out. You can think that now. You can think that a year from now. Right after that game, that's not going to fly. If they lose, 33-3, it's going to be like, this is really no different than it was last year. Mateer has just been saving us. Our staff still sucks. We still gave up 33 points to freaking Q Arch and on. Offense is still garbage if we don't have one guy doing everything for us.
Which is true.
Everyone will say that. No one will be able to tolerate a bad loss to Texas.
Well, I see them already conditioning the crowd on the OU side for it. And they're like, well, maybe Michael Hawkins had a few good moments last season. Well, he's grown a lot in the offseason. So
I would love to see Michael Hawkins in the Red River Shootout.
Me too. All right, chat. Thank you. Ian, thank you as well. And this was IT Live, and it was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Later, y'all.